Killer Frost vs. Spider-Gwen. The third woman to take the Frosty mantle, Caitlin Snow, versus the Gwen Stacey of Marvel's Earth 65, who was introduced to us during the Spider-Verse story arc. Who do you think should win? Let us know your pick in those comments below with either hashtag Spider-Gwen or hashtag Killer Frost. Hey everyone, welcome back to Versus, the video series we do on Top 10 Nerd that takes two of your favorite characters from the DC and Marvel universes and tosses them into a hypothetical battle against one another. No preparation, no parameters. Just a straight up brawl. Both Killer Frost and Spider-Gwen have been fan favorites on our channel, so we wanted to do a versus where the two face off and see who would come out on top. So to start things off, let's take a look at the unique origins of these two kick-ass characters. Spider-Gwen, aka Gwen Stacey of Earth 65, came to be during the 2014-2015 Spider-Man story arc called Spider-Verse, in which we were introduced to a universe where Gwen was bitten by a radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker, becoming Spider-Woman. And poor old Peter is actually one of the earlier villains that she faces off against. The character was such a hit that Marvel decided to give her own solo series, with its second volume still in publication as of the recording of this video. Killer Frost, on the other hand, comes from a long legacy of badass villains who use the same mantle. Caitlin Snow is the third, and she came to be during the New 52 reboot at DC. When we're first introduced to her, she's a young scientist at Star Labs in the Arctic, who is assigned to work on a thermodynamic engine. She discovers that the facility has been infiltrated by Hive agents, who then tried to kill her while she's physically inside the engine. She then rips at the coolant system, which merges her body with ice, and essentially makes her a heat vampire. Out of revenge, she kills all of them, then makes her way back to her hometown of Pittsburgh, eventually creating a suit for herself that retains heat for a longer time. Flash forward to DC Rebirth. The character joins the Suicide Squad, but ends up eventually assisting the Justice League, which gets her a spot on the new Justice League of America team alongside Batman, the Atom, Black Canary, Vixen, the Ray, and Lobo. Now on to abilities. Let's start with Gwen. As Spider-Woman, she pretty much has all the same abilities that Peter normally has. This means she's got spider physiology, aka superhuman strength, speed, agility, toughened flesh, the ability to cling to walls like a spider, perfect balance and equilibrium, healing powers, a watch device that lets her travel the multiverse, an augmented musculature that lets Gwen lift around 10 tons, and of course her spider sense, even though in a few cases that sense has proven to be unreliable. Her web shooters are also different than Spider-Man's, and they don't require a web solution. They use the moisture in the air to create webs, giving her unlimited use of said webs. In addition to all of that, Gwendolyn is quite proficient in detective work, perhaps due to her father being the captain of the NYPD, and she can hold her own when it comes to a fistfight. Although Cindy Moon has noted that Gwen, whose knowledge of fighting comes from kung fu movies, does not know how to throw a proper punch. What about her weaknesses though? Well, it's safe to assume that ethyl chloride would weaken her, and that if any enemy used a slippery substance or lubricant on a surface while she was trying to hold on to it, it would nullify that ability. Moving on, let's take a look at Caitlin. So she's capable of cold and ice manipulation. She has to absorb heat from external sources, which she then transmutes into waves of cold, hence the toxic relationship between the former Killer Frost and Firestorm. But what else can Caitlin Snow do? She can create an ice sheen that covers her body and increases her durability. She can create blizzards, can sometimes fly via arctic winds, can instantly freeze enemies, create objects composed of ice, and shoot ice projectiles. She has a genius-level intellect, and is no stranger to the field of physics. She once created an ice prism that converted Superman's heat vision into a bright burst of sunlight that managed to defeat Eclipso. All sounds pretty cool, pun entirely intended. So what's her weaknesses then? Well, she can't touch a regular person without freezing their body, killing them. And that whole absorbing heat thing? While heat-based weapons do make her stronger, without having that heat there, she's pretty much rendered useless. Caitlin constantly has a hunger for heat, and risks dying of starvation if she doesn't get it. Alright, with all that in mind, let's get on to the fight. Spider-Gwen would need to keep her distance from Killer Frost if she were going to get through this fight. If Caitlin touched her, even with her healing abilities, there's a very good chance that Gwen could be incapacitated, potentially dead, but seems a little unlikely. Arguably, as Spider-Woman, she's quick, agile, and could likely avoid any icy projectiles that Killer Frost threw her way. That being said, Killer Frost can be ruthless. With the ability to create ice constructs, Caitlin could use her abilities to make all the surfaces in the vicinity of their battle slippery, which severely hinders Spider-Woman. Not to forget, Killer Frost is essentially a murderous Elsa. She could bombard Gwen until she's just too weak to continue, freeze her webs until they snap apart and break, or freeze Gwen herself into a block of ice. The only hope that Gwen has is to figure out how to cut her off from heat sources, but what's the likelihood of that happening on their first encounter? So the winner? Killer Frost. Perhaps if Gwen managed to get away from their first encounter, she could do some serious recon, chat up her billionaire mentor Janet Van Dyne for advice, and come back with some serious plot armor that could help her drain Killer Frost of her heat, defeating her when she's starved. But on a first encounter, Caitlin Snow's experience and raw power could potentially kill Gwen if she isn't careful, and could at least easily subdue her. Alright, there we have it. Do you think Killer Frost deserved to win? Or can you argue a case for Spider-Gwen? Let us know your pick with either hashtag Spider-Gwen or hashtag Killer Frost in those comments below, and tell us why. If you dug this versus video, please do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you're new, why not hang out some more and hit subscribe? And if you'd like to watch more nerdy videos, why not check out our Versus playlist that's flashing on your screen right now. In the meantime, thanks for watching. This has been Versus on Top 10 Nerd. Catch you all in the next one.